Alright guys, this is Big Spin to 73. I will be recording a $25 Pot Limit Omaha video today. I'm going to keep the Camtasia up on the top right because I'm having a little bit of trouble with my microphone. I've played just no hands on the bottom right screen and a couple hands on the top left screen, and I got lucky. I flopped bottom two against aces, which turned into a scary board, but I actually value bet the river, and he folded. He may have folded a better hand. The first hand I got on this other table was 3-6-7-4 here. Nothing I can do here, not at all. I'm just going to have the check fold button on. During this video, we're going to talk about a few things. First thing is obviously pre-flop selection. I have a hand right here where I'm going to be out of position the rest of the way. It's not a hand I really want to raise and have to play under the gun each way. So I'm just going to complete. We're going to see a flop, and that's a pretty horrendous flop. I just recorded a video earlier, but it was too long, and I decided not to. I turn it straight. I decided not to do anything with it for the fact. I'll open on the button with this other hand, though. I'm just going to check call this river on this other hand. For the fact that it was too long. Hour too long. I probably have the best hand here. I pick up just the limper money over here. I raise and take down the pot. I'm playing 6-max. It's a little different. I really don't like this hand on the button. Ace-jack suited. It looks like a great suited ace, but it's really not that great. You'll see I play pretty tight pre-flop even for 6-max. I don't raise too much unless it's to gain position or it's to bloat a pot with a really good drawing type hand, like a 9-10 jack queen kind of hand. They can flop a 20, draw straight draw. As far as raising aces go, I typically don't unless they're both suited or I have a second pair with them. You'll see me raise a lot of double pairs. I'm going to go ahead and call here. I have kind of what you call a dangling 7. The first 3 cards are big cards, and then I kind of have the 7 of diamonds there. This table looks very tight I'm on, so we'll see. We might have to exploit them pre-flop a little bit. I really can't do any exploitation on this flop. I have to fold to this bet. I do have a backdoor flush draw, but that is all. On the other table, it's an easy fold under the gun with a pretty poor hand. Basically, what I'm looking for are connecting cards, suited aces, pocket pairs, double pairs. This guy, I'm going to go ahead and raise. This guy's complete. He's got to play out of position now. I have aces, and he just gives it up. So it looks like this table is pretty weak tight. I have position on the only other stack that's anywhere near a full buy-in. Therefore, I'll probably try to use position against him a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and check in the big blind with just a mediocre hand here. And I flop bottom pair, which will not keep me around for long at all. I won't even complete with the queen jack deuce 4 in the small blind. If this checks through again, I can spike a 3 for well, I make 2 pair, but when he donks out like that quick, not really donking out, leads out, my 10s and 4s really shrink. There's no way they're good here. So that's a pretty simple fold. In Hold'em, it'd be a pretty tough fold, getting 2-1 there, but in Omaha, it's much easier. We'll talk a little bit about reading the board today. It's a little bit different. You can't really make a 4 flush. In Omaha, you have to use 2 cards in your hand out of the 4, and you only can use 3 on the board at the most. So you can't have 1 diamond in your hand and 4 diamonds on the board. That's not a flush. You can't make a full house on the board. If 3 of the same card are on the board, you can't make a full house by pairing another card on the board. You have to have a pair in your hand. So there's a bunch of things. There's a bunch of things that are different. The reason Omaha's slightly profitable right now, even for players with just good pre-flop skills and slight know-how of the game, is that a lot of players are still playing it like Texas Hold'em. They have 2 out of their 4 cards are okay. They play. They don't think about redraws. They don't think about. They see the nuts and they think it's the nuts. I'll kind of tell you about the hand I made in the other video that you won't see. Is I had King and 2 little cards on the button. I limped behind 3 other limpers. We saw a flop of King 8-9 with 2 clubs. The 8 and the 9 were clubs. I had a king of clubs in my hand. Let's see. This is a pretty poor flop. I'll check this one. we ended up all 3 guys ended up getting in the flop. I had top set, which was the nuts at the time. Another guy had a low straight draw. He had a low straight draw plus a flush draw, and the other guy had a high wrap. He had 4 in a row. He had 10 jack. He had on the 8-9 board, or it was a 7-8 board, or 6-7 board, excuse me. I think he had 8-9 10 jack. Ends up the fact that one of the players folded. I'm going to fold 3 aces here. The fact that one of the players folded a underset, which he said in the chat, means I was actually the underdog to win that hand with top set in the nuts at the time. That just goes to show you the Omaha's a little bit different of a game than Hold'em. Top set would never, ever be behind. A set would never be behind a non-set after the flop at Hold'em. I flop an open-ender here with a jack, with the 2 jacks. I'm going to call. It's a rainbow board, so I can call here. I really can't call anything more, though. Looks like he has 2 pair to me. It might have been a flop. Might have been a chance to raise the flop, but, you know, it's not a bad fold there. I'm getting 2-1 pretty much, but I really don't like my hand at all. I'm going to go ahead and limp early. I'm going to see if we can't turn this into a limping kind of table. It doesn't look like it, either one. I'm going to go ahead and call both and see if we can't play for stacks. I really don't flop anything. I flop a pair of queens on the other one, which it really isn't anything either. He obviously has aces. I could check raise, and you probably have to fold, but he's kind of short. I have a gin card against this guy, and he's really betting hard like he has something. The 3's a gin card. And if I look at it I need to be getting about 10-1 on my call to make this with a gut shot. I am, but I don't think he'll stack off the whole way. So this is going to be a fold. Pretty simple fold. If I had a flush draw, I'd probably just check call there. I'm not trying to get all the money in with just a naked flush draw anymore in this game because it's more likely that you'll be up against top 2 or a set, which means your flush draw is actually pretty weak to improve against someone that's going to actually improve to a full house about 30% of the time. I think it's like 2.5% of the time. I'll go ahead and call this flop with a weak diamond draw and a couple inside straight draws. He just bets a quarter. I turn a pretty good straight here. Let's see what he does on the turn. He might have queen 10. I'm going to call, and I'll probably donk the right. Let's see if he can't bluff something off here. He might just check behind, though. I don't think there's any value in raising. And if he has queen 10, he has queen 10, you know? And he does. So I had the diamond draw live. I had the second nuts. Unfortunately, that's rarely good enough in Omaha. I have a pretty easy fold with just top pair, no kicker on the other board. Unfortunately, having the second nuts isn't always the best, we'll say. I have to reload some chips over here. So we're about 8 minutes in, and I want to talk more about pre-flop play, but there's not much to talk about. We want to get high-suited cards. We want to get connecting cards. We want to have double pairs. The hands I tend to raise are double pairs because you have about a 25% chance of making a set. Therefore, I like to get as much money in the pot possible pre-flop. I'm not going to do it with deuces and 4s. But 6s and 7s, 5s and 6s, 8s and 9s, probably I'll do it with. Here's another easy fold on the button. No suited at all, not even a suited ace to limp behind with. So having those double pairs are big, and I don't raise ace-ace before the flop much. So I like to be able to represent ace-ace because I'll tell you the other night I raised with a double pair before the flop 10s and 6s, and the flop came 10 high, giving me a top set. And a player thought I had aces and check raised me, and he still had $20 behind, about 15 behind, and we got it all in the flop, and he had bottom 2. And he even said in the chat, thought you had aces. And I ended up having top set. He was drawing unbelievably slim. So there's reason to kind of disguise your pre-flop hands in that sense. I'll raise like 9, 10, jack, queen, double suited. I'll raise king, king, queen, queen, obviously. But I'll raise maybe ace, 9, jack, 10 with that suited ace. Hands like that give me deception where I can stack somebody, but I can also bluff having 2 aces. If an ace flops, I can usually just go ahead and this is a pretty easy fold. It's a bad suited ace. I'll have a pretty easy chance of bluffing the ace on the flop, and if someone actually plays back at me, I'll know either A, they can't read hands and situations, or B, they have a monster. But basically that's it for pre-flop. I hope we get into a few semi-difficult situations here. You're going to see me do a couple things. I'm going to play very passively with the nut hands with no redraws. Say I flop the nut straight, I'm probably going to play it pretty passive until I see a turn